Weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about big tech censorship, the use of IRS goons to try to intimidate journalists per the IRS visit to Matt Taibbi's home. But I wanted to get to this, too. There's also when opportunists use a legitimate issue to commit a fraud for their personal benefit. And we should police our own, or who we think are our own. I'm talking about Chris Ruddy at Newsmax. When Newsmax was taken off the DirecTV lineup, Chris Ruddy cried foul. This is political in nature. It's political censorship. Using the what was going on at social media companies and, frankly, school libraries and as political cover for what was just a simple business dispute between Newsmax and DirecTV on the distribution of fees for the financial arrangement between the two entities, Newsmax and DirecTV. It was never about political censorship, and Ruddy knew it.
Oh, but yet he went with it anyway.
See, Chris Ruddy at Newsmax, you think that's some conservative channel? I mean, I guess there's some conservative hosts on there. I don't know. I don't watch it.
My sister's addicted to Newsmax. Loves it. Ever since the last election, Trump lost, she switched on Newsmax and never, ever went back to Fox.
Well, that's good for her. It is, I guess there's some conservative hosts. I don't know. But Chris Ruddy is somebody who's always just tried to sidle up to power. If it's Hillary Clinton, he's the Hillary Clinton whisperer. When it was Donald Trump, he was the Donald Trump whisperer. It's a disreputable thing that he did. He's not a conservative. He's imposed COVID mandates. He fired people over not getting vaxxed.
Really?
Yeah, this just in. So, Chris Ruddy, there are hucksters that prey on the center right, too. And if we're going to call out a hustle, if we're going to call out hypocrisy on the left, then we should do it when it's ostensibly the right as well. And so that's what I'm doing. For more on all this, pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, author of Govzilla, Economist Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Morning. Well, I wanted to get your take on this development that has garnered the attention of Jim Jordan, the chairman of the Weaponization of Government Committee, and other Hill Republicans. We were just talking about Matt Taibbi, the leftist journalist, getting the personal home visit from the IRS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this was just a coincidence.
Yeah, of course.
This was just a coincidence that the IRS knocked on his door the day he was supposed to testify before Congress. Do you think that might have been an intimidation tactic by the Biden administration? No, I doubt that. I mean, this is really out. I mean, you have to wonder about the stupidity of these people. All I've been saying, and people like myself have been saying for the last year, when Biden wanted to hire 87,000 new IRS agents, and by the way, the Democrats in Congress gave him that funding. It's the top priority. The number one priority of the Republicans, I just talked with their caucus yesterday, is to stop this $60 billion new funding for 87,000 new IRS agents. But then they do something, and Biden keeps swearing, we're not going to weaponize the IRS. That'll never happen. And then they have the IRS agents knocking a guy's door the day he's supposed to. Do you think that might have been an intimidation tactic?
Well, right. And also, though, too, I mean, as I was saying before, I mean, it could just be, hey, look, we can do whatever we want. You can think it's and we'll say whatever we want. We'll say it's a coincidence. You don't want to believe us? What do we care? Yeah. We are not accountable to you or anybody else, as we've proven over the last decade, ever since Lois Lerner was writing point on tax exempt status for organizations.
No, I mean, this is not a coincidence, folks. I mean, I could count at least a dozen friends and colleagues in the conservative movement who have had the IRS knock on their door when they've done something the Biden administration and the government doesn't like. I was under a 4-year audit under the IRS. Do you think that was just a coincidence? Because I was writing stuff about, downsizing government.
Yeah, but did they come to your door?
No, but they put a lien on my bank accounts and my property.
That's not good.
They have incredible power.
Yeah.
They take your passport?
They did not take my passport, but they did. I could not access some of my accounts because they froze them because they said we owed them money. And incidentally, I don't know if I ever told you the end of this story because it was on the front page of the New York Times when it was announced that Steve Moore when I was appointed to be on the Fed, not nominated to be on the Fed. The front page of the New York Times. Oh, Steve Moore has a $56,000 lien for unpaid taxes, and then we had been contending, as I said, we've been contesting this for 4 years. And then finally, when the whole thing was over, we get a letter from the IRS saying, oopsie daisy, we made a little mistake. We owe you money. You don't owe us money.
Really?
But nobody reported on that, of course. But look, the IRS has a inglorious history for 50 years of being weaponized by, not just by Democratic administrations, Republican administrations. This is what they do. There's an abuse of power, and the IRS has incredible powers. I mean, did you know they have guns? They have a $2 million a year weapons budget.
I want to get your take on something else. Gina Raimondo, the Commerce Secretary. I remember when she was coming up in Rhode Island before she was even governor, and she was a centrist Democrat. She's somebody that took pension reform seriously, and she was going to be somebody that was reasonable that Republicans could work with on state and federal issues. And now that she's Commerce Secretary, there's a regression to the mean of what the Democrat Socialist Party is today.
Right.
And she gave this hilarious interview to the Wall Street Journal editorial board, where she talked about the CHIPS Act and how she is efforting to make semiconductor companies better, more efficient by mandating things like childcare if they get more than $150 million from the government to develop their semiconductor facilities. Now, I got to say, I'm a little bit of two minds on this because even as laughable as Gina Raimondo is, those semiconductor companies, hey, you get in the bed with the government and this is what you get.
They get the truth. Well, I don't really call it the semiconductor bill. I call it the child care bill.
Yeah, right.
Because for people who don't know the background on this, you can only get the money from the government unless you only get it if you set up daycare centers in your facility. I mean, it's so absurd, and it's basically using federal money to establish these social policies and to impose them on these companies. And you're right, Dan. Shame on these companies like Intel, and Samsung thinking, oh, we're going to get all this free federal money. Well, there's no such thing as free federal money. And the fact that she actually tried to defend that, said, no, this is going to be good for the companies. If it was good for the companies, they would have built the damn daycare centers themselves.
Right. No, she knows the semiconductor industry better than they do, better than the guys at Intel. Of course she does. And here's something else, too. There's a real sense of urgency, right? We can't be reliant on Taiwan Semiconductor for all our chips. We need to build infrastructure here. There's real sense of urgency, which is why we had to pass the CHIPS Act and spread all this money around. And then here we are getting bogged down in mandates about childcare for facility and construction workers who are building the facilities and other such mandates by the feds.
They have to join the union. They have to be joining the union if they're going to get this federal money. I mean, this is what's going on in Washington. I testified yesterday before the House, the Education and Workforce Committee, and it was all about how do we get people back into the workforce. And my response is, well, let's start by not paying people not to work. Let's go back to welfare reform. But no, that's not what every single Democrat came in. They really, truly are wholly owned subsidiary of the unions, because all they talked about is, the way to get people back to work is to give more power to the unions. Yep, that's the solution to filling all these unfilled jobs. So it's a weird world we're living in right now.
And speaking of which, a real disturbing development on Friday, the state of Michigan became the first state in 60 years to repeal a right-to-work law. So all that progress is being undone by the Ava Peron of East Lansing.
Why they did that? Dan, Amy, you know why they did that? They want to be more like Illinois.
Exactly. Yeah.
They see Illinois as the economic model that they want to emulate. It's actually a very sad story. So basically, back in, I think it was around I don't remember exactly, but John Engler in the 1990s was a great governor of Michigan. Mm-hmm. He did the welfare reforms. He moved towards, I don't remember whether they passed right to work.
No, it was under Rick Snyder. It was under Rick Snyder, and he signed it reluctantly.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for correcting me on that. So, but the point is, Michigan was kind of headed in the right direction. They had two really good governors, and they did, the welfare reform, blah, 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 and then they became right to work. And Michigan was on a rebound, and the factories were starting to come back to Michigan. And then they idiotically vote to bring back forced unionism in Michigan, and our studies show that Michigan's going to go down the drain. I mean, it's going to be much, much more like Illinois at a time we thought that Michigan was really headed in the right direction. Very, very sad story. And the Democrats, by the way, I asked them about this. The hearing yesterday got very contentious. And I said, look, I'm not against unions. I said, I am against public sector unions because nobody's, negotiating on behalf of taxpayers. But private sector unions, absolutely. If a group of workers want to get together and collectively bargain, that is their God-given and American right to do it. But you can't force people to join unions. And no, we're not forcing people to join unions. Oh, yes, you are. You're saying you can't get a job here unless you pay the union dues. And they're saying, no, the unions, there's a good reason, by the way, why workers may not want to join a union. A lot of reasons, but one good reason, if you're a really high-performing worker, you don't want to have collective. You want to negotiate on your own behalf, not take the grade upgrades that are done by the union, because you probably make more money if you negotiate on your own. So this idea that the unions are there to protect all the workers is just wrong. Let's have freedom of choice.
No more escaping to Michigan. They better retool that advertising campaign.
Oh, God.
Sure.
It's so sad, really. Michigan's the first state in over 50 years to move from right to work to forced unionism. The trend has been in the other direction. And by the way, folks, I think most of your listeners know this. Which are the right to work states? Most of them are in the South. Where are the jobs going to? In the South. When I was working at the Wall Street Journal, I worked there, as you guys know, for 10 years. And one of the cool things is every week we'd have in some of the industry leaders, the people who ran great companies, and employed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of workers. And these are the people who decided if they were going to build a new plant or a new factory or a new headquarters, where that was going to be. And I can't tell you how many of these CEOs said, the first thing we do is if a state is not right to work, we don't even consider it.
Case-Shiller index for January showed a continued slowing down of the increase in home values. Increased 3.8% year over year in January. More signals that we're sort of limping towards a recession, towards a stagflationary environment if we're not already there?
Gosh, I've had a hard time figuring out this economy. I mean, the job market is still really strong, so that's a very positive thing. The big problem is getting workers back on the job. The housing market is still strong in a lot of areas. I can't speak for Illinois, but I got to tell you, I mean, what's that?
I said there doesn't seem to be a lot of inventory. It's slowly picking up, but it's not like it used to be.
But my wife and I we're getting a little long in the tooth, so we're thinking about buying a second home in Florida. There's nothing to buy in Florida. Nothing. You can't buy anything in Palm Beach. You can't buy anything in Naples. You can't buy anything in Tampa. It's unbelievable. So I don't know. I can't figure out, but I guarantee you, as mortgage rates continue to rise, that's going to put a lot of stress on the housing market. And the number one thing we have to do in this country, if we want to straighten out the economy, is take a chainsaw to the federal budget and cut it by about a third. And then if we do that, everything will be fine. Dan, is that so hard?
It seems to be. It seems to be hard. But by the way, I've got a line on a property for you in Naples. It's on Vanderbilt Beach. The homeowner's not going to rebuild. The property's $17 million, and so I'll get you the number of the agent, because that sounds
as is, right?
That's as is. But then you build like a $40 million monstrosity. I mean, that's you need to be in that neighborhood. You're Steve Moore.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of the Steve Martin joke. You can be a millionaire and pay no taxes. First, get $1 million.
Yeah, right.
So, I got to get that $17 million. But my good friend and your good friend, I think he's your good friend, is Gary Rabine.
Yeah.
You know, he's out. He's out of Illinois.
He's in Port Royal. Yeah.
Wait. Where is he?
He's in Port Royal in Naples.
I think he's in Naples.
Yeah. Yeah.
Permanently?
He's in one of the Tony neighborhoods there in Naples, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's it's sad because he put a lot of his own money in running for governor and really has spent his whole life building up his business and grew up in Illinois.
Many businesses.
Done so much. Yeah, many businesses. And guess what, folks? It is now located and headquartered in Naples, Florida. I mean, it's so sad. Why don't people in Illinois understand this? That if you stay on the course you're on, you're not going to have many successful people left in the business. I mean, Ken Griffin and Garrett Rabine, and it's unbelievable. By the way, you drive around Naples or Palm Beach because I spent a lot of weeks there because that's where so many of the donors are. And you know what you see a lot of? Illinois license plates.
Yeah. And that's only because they haven't flipped them over to Florida license plates yet.
Exactly.
And then when they do, they'll layer, it's not this sticker and that plate and then this. I mean, they get us on everything here. Everything you own that's Illinois, it's taxes. So
yeah. By the way, did you see this the story that the New York Mets stadium is a Citi Field or something, after Citi, but they want to rename it because Citibank funds oil companies. And so,
good luck. Try to find somebody else to sponsor that.
They should name it. They should name it Signature Bank of New York Field.
Hey, there you go.
Exactly. But I'm wondering how much longer will it be? Wrigley Field. I mean, isn't that one of those evil big companies? I guess if they don't contribute to climate change, but believe me, that's coming.
We're still trying to get the Blackhawks jersey changed because that's offensive to Native Americans. So we'll let you know when that.
Are
comes
you
to pass.
serious?
No, I'm
That's
just
iconic.
I know.
Well, I know, but it's next up, man.
Icons come and go.
It's a celebration of Illinois, New York, Indian heritage. They want to get rid of that.
Well, I mean, they should want to get rid of it to eradicate colonialism and cultural appropriation and racism and all the isms, and right? Shouldn't they? That's what I understand.
You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to stock up on those Blackhawk jerseys then before they outlaw them.
He is Steve Moore, author of Govzilla and, of course, noted economist. Steve, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great week. Take care.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Is your car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My mechanic just suggested an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait, you pay nothing on repairs? Ox gets it fixed? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance?
Yeah, you don't pay. Ox pays. Ox even has a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the BBB. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike those other warranty companies.
The last thing I need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-294-7524. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox today. 800-294-7524. Or log on to oxcarcare.com. Ox Car Care. 800-294-7524.
I on now. There we go. I'm in control of my mic again, right? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, eventually we will get there. Balance of nature. That's one thing I can rely on every day until somebody takes it out of my locker. No, it's been fine. Nobody's been messing or touching my stuff. But balance of nature, the fruits and veggies that are in a capsule, they take the fruits and vegetables. They're powdered after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stays